this? Come the Lucha. Lucha Brothers through the tape.
This right here is a shot from the entrance of one Penta on Monday Night Raw. Just take that in and ask yourself, how long has it been since a new signing was presented that well by WWE? Skipping straight past NXT, coming straight to the main roster with unique presentation, graphics, and pyro? Even something as simple as announcing his weight in kilos sets him apart. As WWE debuts go, Penta has been right up there. He's even notched up a couple of wins against some great talents like Chad Gable and Pete Dunne. It looks like there's high hopes for him. And as a lot of fans will know, Penta has a brother called Rey Fenix who's caught up in his AEW contract at present. Fenix is every bit the prospect that Penta is, and WWE definitely wants to bring him in if word is to be believed. This could be huge for WWE, and we're here today to look at why. You're watching Sportskeeda Wrestling, and this is how the Lucha Brothers could change WWE forever. The Lucha Brothers might be new names for the WWE audience, but these guys have been around for a long time at a high level. They've got some mysterious origins and have a substantial body of work, which includes stints in TNA, called Impact at the time, Major League Wrestling, and most notably Lucha Underground. In this underrated episodic wrestling series, which ran for 4 seasons between 2014 and 2018 on the El Rey Network, the Lucha Brothers were heavily featured at the top of the card, though they were mainly featured separately. Penta, known as Pentagon Jr. or Pentagon Dark at the time, and Rey Fenix, known simply as Fenix, had some big matches in the series' history and notched up a few title reigns, including the company's World Championship. They won the World Tag Team Championships mostly everywhere they went after that, getting reigns as Impact, MLW, PWG, Ring of Honor, and AEW World Tag Team Champions. Penta also won the Singles World Championship during his time with Impact. Additionally, the Lucha Brothers won the AEW World Trios Championships alongside the Bastard Pack as the group known as Death Triangle. Rey Fenix picked up the only singles title for either brother in AEW, getting a reign with the International Championship, defeating Jon Moxley and holding the belt for 20 days. Apparently wrestling since they were teenagers in the mid-2000s, they've been everywhere, are well decorated when it comes to gold, and been mostly consistent when it comes to the work. Penta is now under the WWE banner, and the wrestling world is waiting for Fenix to follow suit, though his AEW contract had time added due to injury. AEW seemingly has no plans to feature him, however. Don't be surprised to see him show up in WWE when he's free of his commitments. So now you know some background on the Lucha Brothers, but how are they gonna change the WWE forever? That's the title of the video after all. Don't worry, we're getting to that. WWE had a problem with Lucha Libre talent over the years, rarely converting the promising talents into stars on a bigger level. They did some great things with Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, but there aren't many main event luchadors in WWE history despite the popularity of the style. They've tried out a nice selection of high-flying, lucha-inspired talents over the years, masked or otherwise. Names like Super Crazy, Psychosis, Juventud Guerrero, La Parca, Lince Dorado, Grand Metalik, Kalisto, Sin Cara, you could even count Ultimo Dragon. They did have El Generico there for about 10 seconds in NXT before Sami Zayn whipped off the mask forever. Some of WWE's budding lucha prospects have had success at mid-card level, but never hit the heights of Eddie Guerrero or Rey Mysterio. There's a lot of reasons for this, but mainly WWE's mishandling of them, perhaps through size bias or cultural insensitivity. They've rarely been presented well, often used as cannon fodder or mid-card acts with the odd questionable gimmick thrown in here and there. Other times they've fallen victim to unfortunate circumstances or faux pas on the mic, for example Kalisto doing good lucha things, or the many botches of the original Sin Cara. WWE has presented the likes of Dragon Lee and even Dominic Mysterio well in recent times, but the addition of the Lucha Brothers could push it one step further. They're experienced and decorated, they have unique looks, and they have a quality that not many talents have, in that they're real-life brothers who both happen to be incredibly talented in their field of work. They can be used separately or as a tag team, similarly to how things worked with Matt and Jeff Hardy in the late 2000s. The Undertaker and Kane worked in a similar way, but they weren't actually brothers, although pretend wrestling TV brothers still counts. It's how Jimmy and Jey Uso are doing things in 2025, on different brands with different gimmicks, but are down to team up if they need to. Splitting them between Raw and SmackDown could help. You could even see Penta as a heel and Fenix as a babyface, although fans probably wouldn't want to boo Penta given how cool he's looked thus far. WWE could build both Lucha Brothers separately after bringing them in separately, then eventually cross them over for a brother versus brother confrontation if circumstances are right, as long as it's not sponsored by Dude Wipes. But if WWE decides to team them up right off the bat, that would work too. The Lucha Brothers are as decorated as a tag team as they are as single stars. As we mentioned earlier, they won pretty much all the tag titles there are to win in North America. They were a tag team for most of their time with AEW in front of a decently televised audience. With WWE's tag team division always in need of fresh teams, adding a duo with so much experience might work out well. The Motor City Machine Guns have been a welcome addition to the SmackDown tag team title scene, who also built their name and promotions outside of WWE. The only complaint people might have with that is they've already seen a lot of the Lucha Brothers as a tag team in other promotions. But it's important to remember that WWE has a much wider audience than even their biggest competitor. To some fans, Penta and Rey Fenix will be an entirely new act. As things stand, it seems best to keep them separate singles wrestlers and build them up against suitable opponents. Penta has had some good showings against cruiserweight talent so far, matching up well with the likes of Gable and Dunn, but we're yet to see how his moveset will adapt to larger performers. Whether or not he'll change things up to work as an underdog, or if WWE will try to maintain his dominance regardless of size. Rey Fenix utilizes high-flying moves a lot more heavily than his brother, so it may benefit him to be positioned as an underdog early on. WWE's greatest masked superstar, Rey Mysterio, was the underdog whatever situation he was in, given his stature and weight compared to the rest of the roster. Despite this, he always looked credible against the larger wrestlers, as he always felt like he had a chance. He never tried to overpower the bigger guys. He used his speed, agility, and athletic talent, and he wore them out and he cut them down. And if the situation called for it, he lost. Maybe a little too much when he was the World Heavyweight Champion. It was mostly a good balance combined with a talented and charismatic performer. And that's another important thing to remember. Wrestlers in general, not just luchadors, are sold on both ability and personality. If they don't stand out, they just become another member of the roster, at risk of stating the obvious. So far, Penta has been presented with a lot of personality. His entrance is both intimidating and charismatic, including the impromptu fight he had with his jacket during his debut. He looks different, he stands out, he sets apart, and you want to know more about him because of that. There's obviously some darkness there. I mean, just look at him. There's obviously some mystery. If WWE gets creative, they could have a compelling masked anti-hero or a straight-up villain on their roster for a decade or more. Same with Rey Fenix, although a juxtaposition to his brother, they could present him as more heroic, making it feel like a comic book style team up when the two masked competitors, who are also real-life brothers, team up. If they leave them to become just another pair of guys on the roster with masks, they'll end up going 50-50 with mid-card acts or being used for enhancement. Then they'll end up fading away like so many of WWE's lucha prospects have. The Lucha Brothers have the advantage of being versatile performers in the ring and in terms of television. Their work in AEW and Lucha Underground is evidence to this. Penta's Cero Miedo match with Vampiro at Lucha Underground's Ultima Lucha Part 2 is something you should all check out. It's gritty and impressive and kinda brutal, everything it should be about. WWE doesn't have to go as far as Lucha Underground with Penta and Fenix, but a tiny bit of creative license wouldn't hurt here or there. Just to help set the two apart from the rest of the roster, make them memorable to the wider audience. Think of all the masks and Cero Miedo t-shirts they're going to sell. And that's it for another one. Do you agree? Do you think Penta and Fenix could be a big deal in WWE? Let us know in the comments section, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling to see more content like this. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again soon.